Okay, my homework number 37 is very much like the previous problem, number 36. Now, before we get into this, I would recommend, if you have a fraction like this, I would change it to a fraction in front, 1/2, or even a decimal. Honestly, it's going to be your choice, but whatever makes things easier for your calculations as we go through this problem. So I would change it to one of those other ones, but it's up to you. You don't have to. Part A, the vertex. The calculation for that, it's a very small formula. Negative b over 2a is what we start with. So what that does is it helps you find your x value for your vertex. A vertex is just a point on a graph, okay? Remember, b is the coefficient in the middle, in front of the x term, and the a is the coefficient in front of your x squared. So I'm just going to use a 0.5. So we have negative 4 divided by 1. Well, that's just negative 4. Then to find the y value, we need to plug that in to our original equation, plus 4x plus 14. Okay, well, I shouldn't have the x there. We're supposed to put in a number for that. So negative 4 for that. So this is where I'm going to grab a calculator. I don't feel like doing that in my head too much. I guess it doesn't look too bad. Half of 16 is 8 minus 16 plus 14. So that looks like it's going to be 6. So our vertex, remember, it's a point on a graph, so it needs to be written as an ordered pair. So I just had a typo there. My math lab's very picky. All right, so there we go, negative 4 comma 6. Part B, they're going to ask you for the axis of symmetry. Part B, the axis of symmetry is an imaginary line, and it's just defined like this: x equals some number. Okay, it's just a vertical line, and it's whatever value we got for x on the previous vertex calculation. So that's simple. Part C, you just got to make sure you type it in like that when you type it into my math lab. And even if we were in regular class, I'd say the same thing. Part C is going to ask you if it has a maximum or a minimum. Now, the definition is if a is less than 0, then it opens down, which means it has a max. If a is greater than 0, it opens up, which means it has a min. Okay, so we got to look back at our original. Remember, the value of a is the number that's in front of your x squared. So our value of a is 1/2. Well, that's positive. Okay, so our graph opens up, which means it has a min. Okay, visually it's just going to be a graph that looks like this. I don't know what our vertex was, but it's going to be a graph that looks like this, something like that. Okay, so I'm going to say that it has a min, and then it's going to ask you for that value. But remember, we've already calculated that value. The minimum value is whatever our y answer was for our vertex. So it was a 6 at 6. So that's what my math lab will want. You just get to type in a 6. And then for part D, they're going to want you to sketch it. Well, I'll do the best I can here with my iPad, but so for the sketch, negative 6 comma 4, or I'm sorry, negative 4 comma 6 was our vertex, and we know that it opens up. Well, the other point that I use is the Y-intercept. So we know that the Y-intercept is 14. The Y-intercept is just your value of C, is your constant. So what I would do, again, and drawing things by hand, I would go up to 14 and put another dot. You may not have room for that on your My Math Lab, but you could cut that in half. You could. One strategy is just to go up halfway between these, and then over to this 2. So you gotta play around with My Math Lab, but that's generally what the shape should look like when you try to enter it into My Math Lab.